Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Tech Talk of the Month. We're here to talk about Liquibase Data. But before I introduce our co-host for today, we'll talk through a couple of housekeeping items. So first off, let's chat a little bit about the agenda. We'll go through why we're here, a little bit of our code of conduct, just to make sure we cover that quickly. We'll do a little bit of introductions, the same ones that we've done in the past to make it quick and easy. We'll actually have a full demo that's going to be done by Derek and Robert, who again, I will introduce shortly. And then we'll have a little bit of time for some community updates. So as always, we're here to meet each other, to learn something from each other, and to really to ask questions and share insights. That's always the case with all of our meetups. And so we encourage you to ask questions. You're welcome to post them in the chat. If you have a question, even in the middle of a demo or anything like that, feel free to ask and we're happy to help answer. And then as always, the code of conduct, I don't have to read this out loud, but if you just take a minute to take a look at it. Again, this is a safe space and we are a no punks, no jerks kind of culture around here too. So we ask that you respect that and we will respect you of all of your questions that you may have. Okay, well, as always, we'd like to do some quick virtual introductions. We try to make it quick and easy. What we ask is that you adjust your Zoom so that we can see who you are with your first name. You can have your last name too if you want, but you just need your first name and then where you're from, so your country, and then your role, just so we can learn a little bit about you. The way that you can do it, if you look on your Zoom screen at your own face on camera, you see the mute button and there's the three dots. You click on that, you can scroll down to the bottom and click rename, and that's how you can do it. So for example, my name's Caroline. I am from the US of A here in Austin, Texas, and I am the brand and community marketing specialist at Liquibase. I'm just gonna put community specialist just to make it easy. But that's who I am. So if you could take a minute to do that, that would be great. Okay, I see a lot of US people here. All right, ooh, we have someone from India. Hello again. Okay, so as always, thank you again for being here today. We are recording this session, I will mention that too. So if you have to hop early for any reason, no problem, we'll send out the recording in our meetup group. It is posted on YouTube, so you can go back to our channel and take a look at it. But if you'd like to keep your video on, great. If you don't feel comfortable with that, no problem. But we do like seeing friendly and familiar faces and new faces. So I want to introduce our awesome co-host for today. We have Robert Reeves, CTO at Liquibase, joining us. How are you, Robert?
I am doing great. Thank you so much. Can't wait to show the cool stuff that Derek and I have been working on.
Yes, absolutely. I've been working for a while on this too, so I'm so excited to share more with the community. And Derek, it's great to have you with us today too.
Hello, everyone.
Woohoo. Okay, well, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Robert or Derek, whoever wants to take over this next slide and talk a little bit more about Liquibase Data and why it may be important to people in the community.
Okay, thank you, Caroline. So we've got one slide and then we're going to show, but I wanted to level set here and talk about what the hell is Liquibase Data. And so one of the things that we noticed is that when we were really, as we continued to work on Liquibase to improve it, we realized that the data itself was often not part of the equation. Sure, you can bulk load data, you can do DML with Liquibase, no problem. But to really understand what somebody has changed on that database and be able to persist those differences, just didn't have that ability. You didn't have the ability to version the entire database. And so one of the things that Derek came up with is this idea of applying the same developer workflow that we apply to application code, but to database development, and to use terms like commit, push, pull, clone, to allow you to start a database up very quickly on your machine, to be able to version that, and then be able to collaborate with other folks. One of the things that we've heard from Liquibase users is that the whole development process around databases is a real pain. And we are relying on shared databases. If we have developers have their own development environment, they're responsible for populating it with data. And that's hard. And I think we've got something that can get us a little bit closer to that idealized developer workflow. So we're going to be talking about database versioning the entire database, including the data and the schema. We're also going to be showing how to share those versions between team members. And Derek and I are going to be working on the same database here. So before I start showing the demo, are there any questions, thoughts, feelings? Okay. Feel free to look, this is a small group. We're all friends here. Feel free to jump in. So the first thing that I want to show you is how I'm setting up my Liquibase project. So here's my Liquibase.properties file. This should look very familiar to you. We're using Postgres here. But if you, I've been posting a lot of videos on LinkedIn showing Liquibase data with a bunch of other databases. I started out with Postgres. We've got Oracle, SQL Server, Mongo. I think I'm going to do DB2 next. But any Docker container, any database that can run in a Docker container, and has a volume mount as part of that Docker file, no problem. We can do that. So the first thing you need to do is set up a Liquibase.properties file. You are probably, for Liquibase vets, you're going to notice this is new. This is a convenience function. This is so that I don't have to type out my repository name. Now, it could be anything you want. I just call it my repo. This is just going to help me with less typing. So now that I have this properties file set up, I am going to start a database. So we'll go over here to the command prompt. And so this is the command. So Liquibase Data, it's a Liquibase extension. And I'll have links on the next slide that we show you when we're done with the demonstration of where to get this. But you'll notice that it's real similar to the Docker commands. So when you do Docker run, I want to start up Postgres on my machine, you're going to have to pass in at least one environment variable. And that's what we're doing here, setting the Postgres password. And so we'll go ahead and hit enter. Now, two things are happening here. One is that Liquibase is starting a Postgres container in Docker Desktop. The second thing it's doing is registering a volume with Liquibase Data. So it's creating that repository on my local machine. And that's what we're going to be versioning. We're not versioning the entire container. We're just versioning the data. And I'll show you how we can later, how we can roll back and roll forward to quickly change to different database versions. So now that we've set this up, I can do Liquibase Data ls. And this is going to show me the repositories that are registered on my machine. Here we go. We see my repo. All right, this is good. And if we go over to dbeaver, I just want to show this is the nothing up my sleeve portion of the demonstration. We'll see that it's just an empty container. We don't have anything here. There's nothing. I'm not going to click on the other stuff. I just fired this up. This would be a good time to do our first commit. And I'll do exactly that. So the reason why I'm looking to my left is because that's where I have my notes. And so we're going to do Liquibase Data commit, pass in a message. Hope y'all can see that. Okay, we're good. Now we can do Liquibase Data log, and that'll show us all the commits for this repository. We're only going to have one. Okay, good. Now I have my baseline, a place that I could, run to safety if I need to. Cool. So let's change this database so that I can make another commit. And, for my money, the best tool around for changing your database is Liquibase. So the first thing I'm going to do is run generate changelog to create changelog.xml for me. And then I'll go to, I'm using VS Code here. And of course, it's an empty changelog. Hold on for a sec. I need to move some faces on my screen so I can see this. Okay. And then we'll do database changelog. And luckily, I have a change set over here that I'm just going to copy in. Now, of course, all of y'all know that doesn't have to be XML. It could be JSON, YAML, formatted SQL. I'm just kind of dating myself using XML. And so, okay, look, we're just going to create a table, 4 columns. All right, pretty straightforward. And then we go back to Liquibase, and I'll do a clear on this so you can see it at the top of the screen. Liquibase update. And this will do what Liquibase does. Now, this is doing it to the Docker container. And so if I go back to dbeaver and hit F5 for refresh, I see that I have my customer table, my 4 columns. Neat. And of course, the 2 meta tables that Liquibase requires. So wonderful. We've made a change. And after a change, it's always good policy to create another version. And here we go, Liquibase Data commit, different message this time. All righty, and I can do Liquibase Data log, and we'll see that we have 2 commits here. Now, this is where the fun stuff happens, all right? Let's say, ooh, gosh darn it, I really didn't like that last commit. So what I can do is Liquibase Data, check out, commit. And then I can take that last commit. Now remember, we currently have that customer table in there and the 2 meta tables, right? And I am going to check out my safe place, where I'm running my flight to safety. Here we go. And so I'm going to check out a previous version. Let's say I messed something up. Let's say somebody else messed something up. And this allows me to go back to a previous version very quickly. And then I can hit F5, probably on tables, and they are gone. Second thought, I really did like that table. That was fun. And I want it back. Liquibase Data log, so I can get the commit IDs. Liquibase Data checkout, commit, create a new table. Okay, cool. And so now we'll see that those tables are back. Wonderful. Now this is all on my local machine though. All right, I'm versioning locally. Now it's time to push those changes. Now it's time for me to work with my good buddy, Derek, so that we can collaborate together and make changes, and he can see my changes and I can see his. So the way we need to do that, let me go ahead and get a little further down in my notes here, is the first thing I need to do is tell Liquibase Data where the remote is. Now, Liquibase Data currently supports 2 locations for remotes. One is an S3 bucket. The second is an SSH server. We're going to be using S3 buckets today. So this is a bucket that only Derek and I have access to. We locked it down. Okay, cool. And so we are going to paste that in. So Liquibase Data remote add, origin is the remote name. And then here is the location of my S3 bucket. Now that I have this remote added, I need to then start to push my changes. So we'll do Liquibase Data log. Now remember when I was doing the checkouts, this is very similar to that. I'm going to take this command and I'm going to do the first commit. And then we are going to do it again for the second one. So what I've done is I haven't pushed up the entire container. I pushed up the volume, which is a much smaller file. And I have also registered in the Liquibase Data metadata where this container is from. So now Derek doesn't have to worry about that. So at this point, now that I've pushed my changes up to the S3 bucket, let's go ahead and swap screens here. And so Derek can show you what it looks like from his perspective. I'm in Austin, Texas. He's in Atlanta, Georgia. All right. So we're not on the same network, totally remote. Let's see how this works.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Robert. Yeah, so just like I would in normal versioning, actually, let me go ahead and show dbeaver. I'll do the same thing. I'll show I've got nothing up my sleeves and nothing running under the hood already. I'll go ahead and show that. So go ahead and sign up, and let's see, I don't even have a running database. So the first thing I need to do is, just like I would with any other project, is I'm going to go ahead and clone. So this is like a very similar clone command, just like I would git clone or many other kind of version control. So I'm going to clone. I'm going to say I'm going to name it something different. I don't like calling it my repos for some reason. I'm going to call it my demo DB. So let's go ahead and clone this. So right now it's looking at the S3 bucket and it says, okay, there's this data set that's available. Let me look at the metadata. What kind of container does it need to run? Let me go get that container. Let me set up the data. So now I've actually got it. I've got a commit. So if I come back and I refresh my dbeaver, so if I go in here and I take a look at what I have exactly the last commit that Robert pushed up. So right now I'm working on the same database but now I'm on my machine. He still has the database running on his machine, but I've got the same database with the same data set up. So, but you know what? I need that other run to safety commit. So there's something that's missing here. So I want to make sure that I can do everything that he could do. So I'm going to do a remote data log. So just like data log would show you all the commits that you have on your computer, I'm going to look at all the commits that I have remotely. So let's see what other commits are available. So let's see. Oh, you know what? It looks like I have this commit, but I'm missing this first commit. So let's go ahead and let's pull that commit. Now I'm going to look locally and just make sure that I've got. Let me take a look at what I have locally. If I can actually type. So now I've got both commits that Robert created on my machine. But you know what? I need to actually go back and, like, for some reason, I need to go back and run the safety. So I'm gonna check. So I've got all of the commits pulled down, but I'm gonna need to actually check out that other commit. So let me go ahead and do that. Go ahead and check out this first commit. Come back and let's do a refresh again. And now my tables are gone. So I'm at the same starting point that Robert was. So if I wanted to go back to his starting point make different changes. Now we're both connected. We've both got the same repository set up on our machines. We've got the same remote setup that we can now start collaborating and versioning together. I can do the same work that he did. I can create any changes to these data sets that I want. I can create new commits. I can push them, and he can pull them down as well. It's that easy to be able to say, oh, let's say we were trying to, he found a bug and he needed to share with me with the data that recreated that bug perfectly. It's as easy as just like, he's going to commit that data, push it up, and then I'm going to pull it down, and now we can both look in and try and figure out what's going on with this bug.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Caroline, let's go ahead and show that last slide, please.
Absolutely. Reshare my screen.
So, yeah, on the, let's go to the next one. I think it says demo. We've done that. And then more information. There we go. All right, gang. So here is information on how to get this. Hopefully we distribute this, because it's kind of hard to type out these YouTube links. But a really good, obviously you need to get a hand on Liquibase Data. So it's at this GitHub repository. There is a tutorial link on that page that will walk you through installing Liquibase Data, setting it up. There are some things that you have to do to Docker Desktop to use this. Okay, cool. It'll walk you through that. Not much, real simple. Like one thing on a Mac, one thing on Windows. But it also walks you through each one of these use cases, even to the point of specifying how to set up your S3 bucket for those that might not be familiar with it. Now, of course, if you have any questions, any annoyances, ideas, ways of, inputting, and Andrew, I see your question, and I'm going to get to that in a sec. If you see, you have any problems at all, join us on Discord, and, Derek and I are there in the beta releases channel, and we'll help you out. Also, if you want to email me directly, go ahead, r2@liquibase.com. And there are some demo videos that these are the YouTube links to go ahead and see it using all those different flavors. More to come. The really cool thing I like about this technology is that it doesn't really matter what the database is. It really focuses on those data files that the database is looking at. That is what we're versioning. Of course, if you really want to try it with another database and you're having challenges, let us know. Or if you want to do a video, that would be pretty cool. Finally, we are drinking our own champagne. We use this internally at Liquibase in two places. One, we use this as part of the Liquibase test harness. All right, so we're using this technology to help us version databases so that we're always getting the correct version of the database prepared for our automated testing. Okay, cool. The second thing is, for our SaaS offering for Liquibase Hub, we wanted to be able to provide an easy way for developers to have valid data, a valid database that mirrors production, so that they can replicate issues, resolve them, and have a high level of confidence that when they push to production, it's actually going to work. Surprisingly, when you have valid data that you're testing against, your test cases are actually better. Weird. Go figure. So let me go ahead and see what Andrew's question was. Does the local repo persist after Docker is down? Yes. If you shut down your machine, yes. There are 2 Docker containers that we're running that help us manage this. And those are going to start up. So if you have to upgrade Docker, restart your machine, is that what you meant, Andrew? Okay. All right. So yeah, absolutely. Hopefully that answered your question. Are there any other questions before we move on to other topics? All righty. Well, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully it was valuable. And we'll go ahead and while we're doing the next topic, I'm going to go ahead and copy this information, put it in Zoom chat so you have access to it. Thank you.
Yeah, so before we move, essentially what we're going to talk about next is more of our community updates. Did anyone have any comments or feedback for Robert or Derek seeing what they saw? Do you think this would be something that's valuable to you? Do y'all have any comments in general? Okay. Looks great. Thank you, Charles. No, that's great. But yeah, like Robert said, there's lots of resources if you want to give it a try yourself. Obviously, on our YouTube channel is where you can find a lot of those videos. We've been posting them pretty regularly. And yes, thanks for the comment too about it being useful for developers. That's helpful for us to know too. Obviously, that's kind of the intent, but any feedback that y'all have, again, please feel free to post that. Fran actually has a question, Robert, if you want to answer. Cool.
Okay, sorry, I was just typing right now, getting that information there. Let's see what the question is. What if a schema has triggers? Well, those will be persisted too. Anything that you want to change to that database, those things will be persisted because that's inside that data file, those triggers. Was there a specific question? Did you have a use case in mind?
Can I chat here or like?
Chat? You can just speak out loud, Fran, if you like. Yeah, no problem.
It's quicker.
Yeah.
So if you have an existing table that has triggers and you make a change and you update data and you need to reverse that, then how does Liquibase handle that? So if you do a rollback.
Yeah, exactly. You would check out, just like I did, I checked out that first commit. It would go back to the previous version.
Okay.
So before any changes. So I could actually dump all sorts of things. I could drop tables. I could do whatever I want, really mess up my database, put it in a bad state. And this allows me to get back to the last version. Okay. So whether the database is firing a trigger to make changes or whether a human is doing it or a script or whatever, the changes persisted and we would go back to the previous version.
Okay. So the key there is your version, right?
Yes.
That's your fallback. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Version early, version often.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Thank you. It's very good.
Okay. By the way. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions from anybody? And feel free to just speak it. You don't have to rely on just the chat for that. Okay. Well, I guess in that case, we can go ahead and move on to our community update section. But if you have a question that does pop up, we do have time. So feel free to just flag us in the chat and we can always hop back. But I will go ahead and transition over to our community updates. I need to update that URL, apologies. But we actually have our updates from the month of February. As always, we write a blog that recaps the month prior. We'll share that link out with the slides as well. So you can take a look at, what are some updates that have happened in the previous month, what contributions have been made from people in the community. It's just a good way to kind of keep up with what's going on. So many of y'all may have seen that we had a recent release, Liquibase 4.8.0. There's some really interesting stuff and updates in there that you can take a look at, specifically around some of our hub functionality with Liquibase Hub. If you've not checked out Liquibase Hub yet, I do encourage you to take a look at that. That's also something that's been relatively new in the community for the last year. So feel free to look a little bit more into that. Thank you to the people that were some of our first-time contributors. We like to list people out from their GitHub handles. So if you ever do want to contribute, we really encourage it and invite you to work with us with, pull requests, bug issues, any fixes. So we just like to say thank you for that. For people that are part of Liquibase Legends, we have some point updates for 2022. So essentially what's happened is anytime that you are part of the Liquibase Legends program, any points from the previous year will count as 50% towards the remaining years. So any of your points that you earned in 2020 and 2021 are now halved, and you'll still get to keep half of those points as you go into 2022. If you've not signed up for Liquibase Legends, I encourage you to do so. It's a great way to earn points and level up in status levels in the community. We have some pretty cool swag and some cool accreditations that you can earn that you get to post on your LinkedIn. So if you haven't joined Liquibase Legends, then I encourage you to join, and there's a link to sign up there. And hello, Tabby. Tabby is joining us today. So I know that in the last few months of meetups, we keep pestering. Hey, does anyone know a community manager that would like to join our team? We finally found her, and she is here today. Welcome, Tabby. Do you want me to actually embarrass you and spotlight you? I think I will.
Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. I'll live.
Yeah. So Patty joins us. She's from Houston, Texas. But Tabby, or should I say Patty? Tabby, do you want to talk a little bit about why you decided to join Liquibase and what you're excited about for the community?
Oh yeah. One of the things that I'm most excited about joining Liquibase is the no punks, no jerks culture, because that can be a challenge to deal with in some communities when that's not the baseline. So I'm really excited to get to know everybody with that as the agreed upon context that we all relate to each other. And I'm just thrilled to be here. I can't wait to dive in.
Well, we are super excited to have you. You'll see some more formal announcements of her joining us coming soon, but y'all are the first people to know. So you get a sneak peek at her welcome event. So Tabby, it's great to have you. And be sure to look out for her in our forums, Discord, really all over the place. You'll start seeing your name pop up quite a bit. So
yeah, I've been lurking on Discord for a couple of weeks. So if you see me over there, say hi.
Yeah. Okay, well, that is mostly it for today. As always, what we've started doing with these meetups is we've made them kind of quarterly events. So every quarter is when we'll have a tech talk that's like this. So if you have topic ideas that you want to share that you'd like us to dive a little bit more into, we would love to hear it. Next month is going to be more of our office hours style of meetup. We call them an Ask Me Anything. This is a chance for people to come and ask questions if they're stuck on an issue or have any sort of needs. We will have experts from the community. Many of them are actually the people that are here today to help answer questions and just share any sort of insights. So if you have anyone that you know that's even like a new user of Liquibase, or they're just kind of getting up and running, that's a really great opportunity to just learn more from us. Then that next month after, so in May, I can't believe it's already March, but in May is when we will have Karen back and do what we did more like last month, which is kind of the product roadmap talk. So it's pulling ideas from the community of how we can make Liquibase better, not only from a product perspective, but even from a community perspective. We've had great feedback really across the board. And so that is a really great opportunity to participate and just share your ideas. We had a lot of awesome ideas from last month. It's part of our idea portal, and you'll get a link to that as well in case you haven't come across it yet. But as always, if you don't want to post it in the idea portal, if you have ever feedback or ideas, I really highly encourage you to post them in our forum. That is such a great way to reach out to us and get connected with us. It's something that we mostly monitor. So we welcome you to the forum. And then, of course, if you want to talk more with Robert, I will go back in those slides real quick. But if you do want to learn more about Liquibase Data and just get more involved, you can reach out to Robert directly. You can chat with him in the forum. We are very accessible people, and we want to be here for you. So that is all for today. Does anyone?
The magic of open source.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, we like to think that Liquibase is a pretty welcoming community. So we want y'all to feel supported, and then we want to encourage y'all to share your ideas and feedback. Any questions or feedback from today or anything you all want to talk about? Okay, well, hey, Robert, Derek, thank you for your time today. It was really great. And I'm excited to see Liquibase Data really take off. And to everyone that joined us, thank you so much. And we hope to see you next month.
Thank you, gang.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
everybody.
Bye-bye.